Hi viewers of Barks, this is Katie Tunstall. I hope you enjoy my new album, Drastic Fantastic. It's coming out soon. Yeah, I don't feel like what I do is the same as a sculptor, because I think I have another friend who's a musician, and I said to him, you know, what's it like for you when you write songs? And he says he feels like he has this big rock and he chips and chips and chips and chips and he finds the shape of his song in it. And I feel kind of the opposite about my songs, where I really want it to start from nothing and build up the way. So I feel like with my songs, I'll kind of have a tiny thing and I stick pieces on like that until it's finished, and I don't want to put too much on. So I definitely grow out the way rather than start with a big thing and chip away. The songs to me they have seeds, and I think that it's kind of in the air and you have to find it, and then you have this thing, and I think you have to grow it and you have to water it and you have to feed it and see what happens. And it depends what you give it to eat and what you give it to drink, and I think that there's many different possibilities with a song where it'll go, and it just depends which day you write that song on, because I often feel if I've written half a song and I finish it on a Saturday, I finish it and I think, wow, if I'd written that song tomorrow on a Sunday, it might be completely different. So it's I think there's many different parallel possibilities for a song, and it just depends about your timing of when you do it. I think there's definitely a difference to the album when you know that, you know, your first album sold 3.5 million records, and you think, oh my god, 3.5 million people are maybe waiting to hear what I do next. But I'm more than that influencing how it sounds. For me, it's actually been very liberating having the first album do well, because it's given me a lot of confidence to do more and to do some different stuff. I feel like it's like a ladder, and I'm on the first rung and now I can go to the second one, and there's a kind of foundation to everything. So I felt that I could move forward and do something different and use different instrumentation. And also because I've been touring live for 3 years, I really wanted that sound on this album. So it's really become a rockier, kind of more electric guitar, slightly more I don't know, maybe more complex lyrics where it's not as obvious as the first album. Yeah, I feel like it's moved forward, but it still sounds like me. It was interesting when I was thinking about what to do next, because I never knew the pedal was going to be such a great tool for me, and it was going to take me all these places and get people really excited about it. But the important thing for me was that I didn't want it to become a gimmick, and I didn't want to use it just because it got people excited because it's a piece of equipment. You know, it has to be used because it's needed in the song. But certainly if I play a gig solo, then I'll use the loop a lot and use it for different songs where I wouldn't usually. But for me, really, it's a tool for Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, because I wrote the song with the pedal. So with this album, I sang so many backing vocals on top of my songs that I couldn't really see how to do this because it was too difficult live to put all the backing vocals into the pedal. So instead, I have 2 new really foxy backing singers, which is really cool. So there's now 2 extra girls in the band, which is nice because it means that there's more girls around, which is really cool. And they sound fantastic and they look great. And it's really, I think, going to add a lot to the way that the show looks and sounds. There's a few labels that I really like. I've always really liked Vivienne Westwood because she's just queen of punk, and I love her attitude towards what she does, and she makes them really great. This is my Westwood t-shirt, my second-hand one. But I really enjoy labels that have a rocky edge to them, but basically tailor clothes really well, and just simple stuff. I'm not really into wearing really crazy catwalk stuff because it'll just get all caught up in my guitar when I'm playing. So I like wearing, I like Armani, and I like Stella McCartney is great, and I love labels that have a bit of thought for the environment as well. So I really like Subi. Is a great label. They've got a kind of environmental slant, and they're really make some really good rock and roll clothes. I like some high street stuff too. In the UK, just regular shops. There's a great store called All Saints, which I enjoy, and these are my All Saints shoes. So it's great when you find a label that you like, and just if you don't have much time and you can just run in and get something good for a gig, it makes life much easier. It's hard to give advice to musicians because the best thing to do, Robert Smith from The Cure said this, that if someone says what's the best advice you've been given, it's just don't take any advice from anyone, because the more advice you take, the less you're making decisions on your own, and it can become a bit diluted. But there's nothing wrong in being inspired by people, and the best thing to do, I think, is just look to the people that you really admire and see how they do it and see what they say about what they do and how they got there. And just be honest with yourself. You know, I think it's really important in our culture, in our modern culture, where you're kind of expected to be something and you're expected to look a certain way, and actually to think that not looking like that and not being the same as everyone else is actually maybe a really good thing. So just trying to stay yourself.